background.
Oh, thanks. I stole it, but don't tell anybody. We were just talking about you, so no problem.
In good?
Yeah, everything really
Of
good.
course, always.
I like your
So
shirt,
How's,
by the way.
how's everyone?
great, wonderful day in France. Very good.
Yeah, well, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Alex. I run a YouTube and a Love Sugar show, Instagram. So thank you both for taking the time to interview with me. It's kind of awesome. I was told one and I got two, so I'm super excited.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Pleasure is ours.
So I always ask this question as my first question to every band. How's it going?
Yeah, great.
Perfect. Perfect, I would say.
Yeah,
As
no,
I was
very good.
saying, yeah, as I was saying a few minutes ago, like the album is gonna be out in a few days, so it's the final meters of a race that lasted too many months, I would say, especially for Victor, who's been taking charge of everything since then. And guess that we're pretty much excited about the album to be out. So far, the feedbacks on the two first songs was tremendously good, and we are very happy with that. And we're excited to go on tour also because as soon as the album is out, we are on the road.
That's
So we've
always
got double excitement.
Yeah, Max nailed it here. Also, I think there was pleasure in the making of the album. It's we know we're just like eager for it to just be out and become its own thing and then go away, play it, and start feeling differently about some of the songs as well. Because sometimes you go on tour and you start playing them and you're like they take another dimension and there might be something you weren't too sure. Sometimes I'm like, oh, is it gonna work well live? And so some of these things are gonna appear, and it's always like a very interesting part of the process.
Well, that's awesome. I know like a lot of bands, especially when the album is out, they feel relief, especially since all the pressure is gone.
I wouldn't say that all the pressure is gone. A different pressure came after the release pressure, and now we're gonna have to uh, show that actually
Can play it.
to our play. And this is a total different thing, but a
Were
very
they
exciting thing.
were we lying or not?
Was it a scam all along or not?
Exactly. Yeah.
But it
So,
isn't, obviously.
with this being your third album, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, good. Look, when you start, the thing is, like our last album was quite successful in terms of it wasn't a breakthrough album in the sense of I think the album even before that we kind of start touring in Europe and we even went to the US with Sharon with Etemen. It was our first album on a big label with Metal Blade Records, so we had a lot more ears on the album and we really grow the our fan base. So we start, and we start playing a lot of festivals and a lot of shows. We did like Hellfest last summer, some stuff of this size. So you start playing 10,000 people on this festival, and it's like definitely the step up. So because of that, we also felt at the time when we released the Temenenka, we really felt like this was our best album at the time, and we felt like okay, we're gonna have to follow that, and we're gonna have to bring something on the table that feels both like equally good or superior in some way. And I know it's very subjective, but at least we have to feel that we are proposing something that's equally good or better. And then
Mhm.
on top of that, that is also different. I think in our scene, in post-metal, progressive music in general, people don't necessarily like albums that really feel like a formulated version of something that has been done before. That works in some other type of music. When you're listening to AC/DC, you don't want to listen to them doing something wildly different. You want them to do AC/DC stuff. When we are a band like us, it's something else. So there is this extra challenge of bringing something that feels like the band, but also feels new and fresh. So yeah, to answer your question, as being our third album, there is like an additional an additional challenge, which is hey, we've done these albums, this music in the past. no, we
Mhm.
are going to try to up it and differentiate it from anything that we've done in the past. So that was a real challenge, yeah. But yeah, I think we did it in a good way because we really knew what we wanted to do. When we start touring ETMNK, the last album, we start knowing, like, identifying really quickly, right? This is really cool what we've done. There's a few things we would like to do differently, and a few things we'd like to maybe a few things we start introducing in ETMN that we want to explore more on this album, or some other things that, for instance, the fact that we only had really long songs. We're going to try to do shorter and more concise songs on this album while remaining, keeping the DNA of the band, let's say. So I think, I think that worked really well for us on this one because we did exactly what we wanted to do, and I think it helped making Voidkind a very different album than ETMN, and to me, I think it's I feel like it's a step up again. So yeah, good times all around.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I totally cope with what Victor just said. Plus, I cannot basically talk about ETMNK. I wasn't on this album. I joined the band just after they released it, and I was part of the writing process, most of the synth and a bit of vocals on this album on Voidkind, but I joined the band while they were actually defending ETMNK. So I've seen in some ways I've seen the changes of view of the band, about their own songs, and the fact that we played this album throughout 2 years, I would say, two or
Yeah,
three,
three for us.
three for you,
Yeah,
two for me.
two for you. Yeah.
I've seen, we've all seen actually in the band, all these changes and the urge to move on to another thing that led to what we put on Voidkind.
Okay. Well, is there anything that you would change about this album, even after you joined? Like, is there anything that you would have personally changed about it or anything?
Careful with what you're saying, Max.
What?
I'm joking. She said, "Would you change anything?" Do you mean on ETMN or do you mean on Voidkind?
Yeah, since he joined after, I'm wondering if there's anything that he would change since he joined after. No pressure though, no judgment.
um, You know what? To be fairly honest with you, I would say that no, I wouldn't change anything on Voidkind. I guess fact is that, there's been a very intense work about sculpting. We had actually a lot of material when we were starting defining what the album would be made of. We had I don't know, Victor, the exact amount of songs and ideas we got, but
14.
we threw aside a lot of material, and I would say that we jigsaw the album actually, to make all this material, to make what Voidkind is about. And I think that we pretty much kept all the pure and cool things and get rid of what wasn't necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's like there's an element, not necessarily even like a jigsaw. I think it's more of because the album goes through like the creation of the music, like the initial foundation of the music, which was like mostly guitar, drums, and bass. So it was like Alan Dudley and I on that part. And then when the foundations are done, even the making of the foundation of the music, there is an element of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We're like in the studio jamming really, the three of us, and then there is an element of sending stuff to each other until we get to a point that we are quite happy with like a rough structure or rough vibe of the song, and then we kind of keep on moving on and keep on moving on to the next track, and that kind of takes us to a moment where there's already like this kind of buffering that happens and like filtering within the three of us already. And then when we start opening these songs and this demo to the rest of the band, Max, Dan, and also our producer, Graham, there's an extra element of that is added. Then they start, thinking, hey, I like this. I'm going to try to do this on the keys, or they might be like, maybe they even have like notes on the structure of the songs, and some songs that maybe feel like less cool, like less or maybe they kind of feel like another song that we already have on this on the record and or even on the previous album, and then those songs don't make the cut, but we might keep something that we really like from it and then bring it to another song. And so there is this element of like continual composition and arrangement of the songs until the last minute, until the album is fully recorded, until actually even during the mixing phase. During the mixing phase, we've made choices of cutting parts of songs because we were like, hey, this is cool, but we feel like we are just saying the same stuff over and over again here. So our producer would go, right, I'm gonna get rid of that and basically just make the song more concise and just saying, keeping what's important in it rather than just go on forever and forever with maybe something that doesn't add anything to the music.
Less is more.
Sometimes.
Sure.
Sometimes. If you're not Ingrid Malmsteen, less
Exactly.
is more.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that most songs were longer and that on this album you decided to make them a little bit shorter. What was the idea behind that decision?
Just because we had like Etemenenka was just all the songs on Etemenenka, I think the shorter track was like 6 minutes and a half or something like that. And then average probably 8-9 minutes. So we just because it allows us, because it's a different exercise to create a song that's shorter. You have to make sure you are able to have like what we're doing is like when we're making music, we still have this idea of wanting to take people a bit on a trip, a bit on a journey, and within that, you basically are trying to do something that is either a bit progressive or offer different movement within a song while being able to be concise. So it's a whole other kind of challenge. When you make like a longer songs, you can take all the time in the world you want. You can take 10 minutes to do that. And by the way, we still have those songs on Voidkind. There still has a few songs that are like big songs because it's fun and because there is always a way to express yourself within 10 minutes that is different than previous album. But we wanted to have like 3, 4, maybe 5 tracks that were like, okay, let's try to take this identity that we have, like, progressions and movements and telling a story kind of thing, and condense it into something like distill it, let's say, into something that's more to the point and shorter. And also live, I think, Max, we were talking about that when we were like playing the album, the old album. We always were like, oh, damn, there is now we've got a set and it's 45 minutes and we have to like instead of 50 minutes and now we have to cut a song that it's 10 minutes and now we are like
which 10-minute songs are we gonna cut actually?
Exactly. It's like it's a pain in the ass. So it's a bit we always had to like start our set like 5 minutes early so we wouldn't run over our set length. That used to be the problem. No, at least we are just like, right, let's go. We'll just remove these 5-minute songs and the set is exactly the length of what the festival is offering us.
Yeah, plus I would say that in some ways, even in progressive music and all the things related to, I would say, cinematic landscape and stuff, sometimes, and it also has an incidence on the energy of the song, to make a shorter scheme and to just makes you more focused as a musician, I would say. It makes you more focused about the intensity of the tiny moment that you got, and it somehow the good example on the album is Sarmate. Sarmate is it's some sort of one of the shortest song on the album, if I'm correct.
Shorter song on the album, yeah.
Shorter song, and fact is it's maybe one of the most dynamic, and we kind of discovered that we always had even in Intermenenka and in the previous album we had some dynamic and more I would say rock and roll songs, but fact is to make things more intense and more short was kind of a good exercise. And I think that we might we also, as Victor was saying, we also thought live when we was thinking of such songs.
Yeah, and it's just different as well. I think one thing we're trying to do is we're trying to make albums that are different and that stand out on their own. Etemen was great. We really enjoyed it, but we didn't want to make a DLC of Etemenenka. We wanted it to be like a new thing, something on its own. Like, and just because we are creating, because we force ourselves sometimes to go through the process of making shorter songs, the song will feel different. They're not going to feel like Etemen at all. No, you've got this cover in the back of the artworks, the same story. We wanted, like, all the identity of this album is it's something we thought about while making those songs, and like that decision of making shorter track is one of them. The choice of the artist is one of them. The type of the artwork we wanted to do, like all these things. The way we recorded the album also is a testament to that. Just the fact that we wanted to make something that was different.
Yeah, for sure. Would you say there is like a theme to this album then?
Yes,
There is.
yeah. There is the theme is religion. It's an album that talks about the birth of a religion, and like the rise of this religion through, and the spread of this religion through martyrdom, through pilgrimage, and like there's a story of like kind of the oppressed becoming the oppressors as well to it, like with the ideas of zealots and religious fanatics. And the concept of heretics as well, hereticism, and all these kind of things, which I think is super interesting. And within this dark theme and very serious theme, we're also having a lot of fun in creating a universe that's like, more for people to escape. And if people want to read the lyrics, then they can go into that, and a bit like what you would do when you're reading a sci-fi book or like a good fantasy book. There might be a message in there. But it's not only about that, it's also about the escape value, let's say, just you being able to being into this fun world. And also for us, it's a cool way to, create songs and lyrics that are creative and fun. We can, because it's a universe that's completely new. There is no constraint on the type of lyrics we create. We can even create new words. We can use different languages. We can do all this stuff. So yeah, that's the thematic of Voidkind.
That's great. I mean, like you said, it's kind of like a book, but for those of us who don't like reading, music is so much better because we don't have to read.
Yeah, but you have to read lyrics and try to understand them, though. But yes,
Very much shorter than a book, though. I like
true.
music a lot more than reading. So, so if you had to describe this album in 3 words to someone who hasn't listened to it yet, what 3 words would that be?
Uh, uh, you want to go first, Victor?
No, no.
I was expecting that answer. I would say, actually, it's kind of a hard one. I would say dark, obviously, but I would also say grand, like something real kind of monolithic. Also, that's my
Okay.
3 words.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I would struggle with this one. Yeah, whatever people want it to be. Just no, I don't have 3 words. I don't think I can sum it up in 3 words. It's all right.
What about like a little introduction? Just like something like you would tell someone who hasn't listened to the album who would be interested in it.
Well, for people who don't know us, Voidkind is like this kind of it's a grower, I think, as an album. By grower, I mean it's like an album that will reward multiple listens. It will. I think it is accessible, but I think the more you listen to it, the more you will find interesting new things you haven't heard. Maybe like a synth line, a guitar line, like a little thing in the vocals that you didn't necessarily pick up on. And then for people who, and I think it's also an album you're getting as much as you are willing to take from. The more you listen to it and the more you invest time in it, in the lyrics and stuff like that, the more you will maybe find some interesting stuff in it as well, in terms of thematics and stuff like that. We really took a lot of time to create this music and to create those these lyrics and these stories, and even in the artwork, to make something that felt like a very coherent piece. That I think it's for the nerd out there, which I'm one of. I particularly enjoy this type of music, or this type of like art product, let's say, that allow you to kind of make your own story, or like create like your own interpretation of something, because it's kind of like It's open-ended, let's put it this way.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I
here,
love like that with the story behind it. I think, you know, like you said, the more you listen to it, the more you find things like, oh, I didn't hear that the first time. So it's really awesome to have a CD like that.
yeah,
Or
thank you.
so another question, and this is usually like a harder one, but what do you guys predict will be the fan favorite off of this album?
Hmm. Good question. I'm gonna go for
Well,
I
we
would
released
say
two
that
singles, so yeah.
yeah, apart from these two singles, you mean, or shall we
Just on
play
the
the
whole album, once they listen to it.
I,
No
I would
pressure.
ac- I would actually say about the about of the Perfect Soul, the second single, in my opinion, is maybe one of the most interesting song. But I would say that Eleonora uh, and Cobalt and Necropolis, since these are two songs where in which we added a lot of new things. Actually, we tried a lot of things, but that makes those songs uh, quite more dense and
Mhm.
particular than no. The others are obviously great, and we love all of them. But these two are maybe the most, uh, I would say, intriguing. That was my thought when we started to work on it, and since all these months working on them has passed, I found them still quite interesting to in terms of what we added in it. So I would say these two, Eleonora and Cobalt and Necropolis. Then.
The feedback we've been getting from people so far and journalists, absolutely every single person we talked to had a different favorite.
Mhm.
Some people would be more towards like, you know, because we really spent a lot of time making sure all the tracks would feel different from one another. So each track have their own individuality. Um, because of that, I think, and you know, some songs are a bit lighter, some songs are a bit heavier, some songs are proggier, some songs are weirder. You know, there is a lot of that. So I could tell you which one are my favorite right now. It's probably going to change in a week or as soon as we start going on tour. And then there is also the same things for people who've been listening to it so far, like people I know, and also like other. It really depends. Some people will tell you Eleonora because it's like I don't know, because it's the cleaner vocals maybe resonate with them a bit better, and the ambience of the song might resonate with them better. I know the guy who are more into progressive music. They will tell you Abode and the last song of the album, Cobalt and Necropolis. Some other people, yeah, everyone has been telling me different things so far. Personally, my favorite right now is Cobalt and Necropolis, the last song of the album. It's probably, I think, the most unique song we've ever written, and the most as unique as I don't think there's another song like that elsewhere that just feels like it's got so many influences and so many vibe change that should not really work, but they kind of work. And we went totally over the top with some of the three parts harmonies on the vocals. You know, that's
Mhm.
like it's like it could have been borderline cheese, you know, but
Yeah.
I love it. I really, really love that song. I think it's yeah, by far right now it's by far my favorite.
Okay. That's great. Like I said, it's no pressure because you know we could all be wrong. I listened to the album the other day and I thought it was fantastic. So I always like to see what you guys think is going to be the favorite.
Now that I think of it, I would say also the main goal with this album, and I would say maybe for this album would be to just to have the favorite part of the album is the album in itself. I would say that we did not aim things to be that album to be a no skip album, but obviously the what is interesting in such genre and type of music is that it's not the songs that matters. What that matters most is the full experience when you start from scratch to the end of the album. And in that way, Cobalt and Necropolis is great because it is the way of closing all the doors that have been open in the album. But this is a quite hard exercise to do.
Yeah, for sure. I do have one last question for you guys. If there is a message that you'd like to give to your current fans, you know, new fans, anyone that's interested in listening to the new album, seeing you guys go on tour, what would that message be?
Yeah, for all our existing fans, people who already know us and who've been, supporting us in the past, massive thank you. It's been, a real pleasure. The last few years have been amazing. And things keeps on getting better for us so far. So it's a very like blessed time, let's put it this way. And then I absolutely cannot wait for people to hear this new album as well. I think we feel collectively extremely proud of this album, and I just think it's gonna be, again, it feels like we're taking something new to our fans and for new people as well to discover us. So yeah, I can't wait for them to listen to that, and hopefully we see them, a maximum of these people on the road. In Europe, certainly, like we've got a tour coming up, so hopefully we see a maximum of people at these shows, and we can, share the music, celebrate this album with them all. That would be that's really like the best case scenario right now for us.
I would add something actually. I've been reading this interview of Kevin Shields of A Place to Bury Strangers, an American shoegaze band, if I'm correct. And he was saying an interesting thing about mostly shoegaze, but that also applies to post metal and stuff, is that the more the world is going bad, the world things are turning bad, the more people needs lunar music and music that takes you somewhere else. I guess that we have the chance to release an album in a time of the musical history where a lot of everything, a lot of very good things musically, obviously I'm saying a lot of good things are happening. We are going on tour on the UK leg of the tour with a band called Slimo, which we all enjoy a lot, and we get the chance to hit the stage with a lot of great bands. So what I would say is that very interesting things are happening in this scene right now, and the more interest people will get into that scene, the better things will be, and we actually need the emphasis on this type of music. So we're quite happy to be part of it, but the more interesting things are happening, the better we'll be.
Yeah, well, thank you guys very much for that. And thanks for taking the time to do this interview. Good luck with your tour. And the album sounds great. I can't wait for everyone else to hear it.
Thanks
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
us.
Take
Thank you so
care.
much.